Hi everyone, it's Adam Fish Tanks, and in today's video we're visiting Maidenhead Blackpool to do a little tour and walk around tour with my friend Jonny, the manager of Maidenhead Blackpool. So let's crack on and let's get into this. Nice little display tank as you walk in. Got some cherry barbs it seems, just to show people that you can do a decorations set up with live plants.
Oh, hello.
Hello Jonny,
Nice
gonna
to
give
see you.
us a nice tour today then, yeah?
Let's do it.
Right, where do you want to begin?
We can look at this display, seeing as it's probably the biggest one in the shop.
Okay, no worries. So tell me about this display.
This was set up nearly 4 years ago. I think it'd be 4 in November. And it's changed a little bit. The plants are all the same, but the fish, we've done angelfish, discus in there. These copper harlequins have been in here from the start. Before we put anything else in there, it was just the copper harlequins, and they actually bred, which was quite interesting.
Oh wow!
They actually spawned on the underside of the stem plants at the back there.
Oh, interesting. And
then
they managed to survive?
Till I added some honey gourami, and that was it. The breeding was done. So yeah. And then I changed my 6-foot tank at home and decided to put these big torpedo barbs in there to show people what they really look like once they're fully grown.
It's great to see them in a setup like this because you always see them kind of being neglected, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit small and scrawny. Yeah. These are again about, I think, 4 years old. So, I mean, they're going to live till hopefully about 10 or so. But yeah.
Yeah.
Then yeah, we'll come round here. So down this walkway, we've got all the different tropical fish.
Yeah.
Starting with just a little token of African cichlids, Lake Malawi's. We don't really specialise in these. This is just a little bit of something for those people that are bored of doing community and want to do something a little bit different.
I do see that they're starting to come back slowly, like the shell dwellers and stuff like that are gaining popularity.
It's one. They're the only ones out of the 3 lakes I really like are the Tanganyikans.
Yeah,
but it's just the price
for such
such a little fish.
Once you get them breeding, though, you can't stop them, can you?
No. I mean, shell dwellers are quite cool. Obviously, they spawn and live in those little shells. But maybe one day. I'm into the shrimp at the minute, so no cichlids for me.
Okay.
Yeah, and then next to that we've got the South Americans.
Yeah.
And just the slightly bigger fish. We've got down below here some little pictus catfish.
Okay.
Get a good sort of 6 inches. Not good, obviously, with neons, but the bigger guys on here, they're absolutely fine.
Of course.
Everybody's popular favourite fish. Cheapest plake in the shop. Grows about 50 centimetre.
Yeah, it's a tank buster. But of course.
Brilliant algae eater, but yeah, too big for a lot of people. So,
see that
pretty though.
Got a little display tank here as well.
Yeah. Joe set this up, and the blue cherry shrimp in here have just bred like crazy. I think we only start with around a dozen. And then we've also got the black dragon caradinas in there.
Oh, they're beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll start breeding in there, but we will see. And this is literally a little 30 litre. It's he did this to show people, everybody wants to do goldfish in 30 litre, but you can make a lovely little skate and just give basically these little fish a mansion of a tank.
Yeah, I think as well a cool thing about this is showing people that you can keep caradina with neo caradina and have no issues as well.
Yeah, I mean, when it's like a lot of things with this hobby, you read online, and it sounds so difficult to take care of caradina shrimp, and literally in the shop we do nothing different. It's just tap water, pH of about 7. They'll live in that quite happily, and just loads of small foods for them.
Yeah.
But obviously the 2 neos and the caradina won't crossbreed, so you can have nice clean lines with those, which is always good.
You've got another display tank here.
Yeah, this is I'd say it's overdue. A little bit of TLC. You got a little bit of algae growing.
Yeah.
But the plants have just gone crazy in there.
Really, like the Crypt flamingo there too.
Yeah, I'm tempted to take this out. I mean, you can see some pinker leaves, but it needs a lot stronger light.
Yeah.
It's feeding off the tropical substrate underneath, but it does need that brighter light to be a really vibrant pink.
Well, I see the inhabitants in here are one of your favourites, but I'll move away from the display tank. Just before I do, actually, I like the fact that you've got a little tag here saying how much it costs to run this tank.
Yeah, and whether that changes with the prices going up for energy and everything, who knows? But yeah, it's a nice little. I think a lot of people, especially parents, with kids who are pestering them for a tank or a pet, they think it's going to cost an arm and a leg to run a fish tank. It really doesn't. So yeah, it's a nice little piece.
So as I was saying, the inhabitants. Right behind us, we have an absolute wall of guppies and live bearers. And knowing you, Johnny, you can tell us why a guppy is special to you.
I mean, you just can't go wrong with them. Colourful, peaceful. Add boy and 2 girls, you'll make $1 million. You'll fill your tank out for dirt cheap. And yeah, the main thing though, because I've had a few people that struggle with live bearers in general, is you need that pH of at least 7 or above. I find anything less than 7, and unfortunately, it's just full to bits. I had one guy he bought a big 345 litre tank. Came in, he had some fish and slowly built it up. And I asked him, oh, how's it doing? He said, oh yeah, the tetra's doing really well. I can't keep the platies; they're just dying. I said, oh, bring us a water sample. Tested it, and his pH was about 6.4.
Way too low then.
Yeah. So I told him, decide if you really want the platies, we can fix that and buffer that up. Or if you just want minimal work, just do a nice South American sort of tetra tank. And he went with the easy route. The tetras, Corys, he's happy as Larry. But yeah, if you've got a pH of 7, they'll thrive.
With the advanced fish keeper as well, like myself, I kind of turn my nose up and not appreciate the beauty of these kind of live bearers, because you won't get any colours like this straight off the bat. When you get a fish and you put it in the tank, it'll never look this good unless it's a live bearer. That you can't really go wrong with them, especially for like kids and stuff like that. They're a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean the male guppies that we get are just something else.
It's what you pride yourself in, innit?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean we've got some what I call premium pairs of guppies further down.
Yeah.
You get those going. Again, they'll fill the tank out, keep the same type with each other, and it'll be beautiful. But that's just me.
So you're saying that guppies are like your favourite. What would you say your other favourite fish are?
It changes. It changes every fish delivery we have, because if I get something that we've never had before, I'm like, wow, that is amazing. It could be the most bland looking fish, and I'll be just obsessing over it. But I mean, one I will always go back to if I ever change the tanks around is probably angelfish.
Yeah.
They are stunning. They get a good sort of like that, plus fins, real showstoppers. And like the guppies and a lot of the fish these days, you get so many different strains and colours of them that you can pick whatever flavour you like. So, yeah.
So how long have you been in the hobby for?
Oh, I mean, if we're including having a goldfish bowl, probably about 11, which started with one little goldfish bowl. It was probably only about like 10 litres. I think I had like 2 Blackmores in it and like 2 Weatherlow, which is awful.
The world was a different place when it comes to fish education back then.
Which then led to, I think I ended up, this is a shared bedroom with my older brother. I think I ended up with 3 bowls and a glass box that was probably about 15 inches.
Yeah.
And from there, it's always sort of stuck with me. Now I've got 6 tanks, from a little 25 litre up to a 6 foot. So a lot of people think working in a shop like this, you've got fish around you all day, you won't have tanks at home. This is enough for you. No, you definitely take your work home with you.
Yeah, of course. And as we were talking about earlier about fish colour and stuff like that, you can talk about some of the fish looking really pale in the shop, and then when you get them into a tank at home, there's like a complete night and day difference in it.
Yeah. I mean, I say to a lot of people, like, especially with these top tanks, that don't have any substrate. This fish should look its worst here.
Yeah.
Because once you get it home, especially with a lovely planted tank, those colours will just be, like say, like someone's turned the light on, you know. It's why I've done the black sand in the bottom of these tanks.
Yeah.
Because originally they are all bright blue and a glass base, and the fish just look washed out. I mean, guppies and platies that are constantly that red or blue, whatever colour they are, they look nice. But as you can see with the tetras, they do look a little bit washed out, and they're just trying to blend in. Whereas on this black sand, you know, those colours are just so nice.
I was just panning over to them then. They're the new ruby tetras that you've just got in.
Yeah, these are the naughty ones that jumped across because they were in that tank originally.
Yeah.
But
stunning fish. For anyone that wants a nano school fish, highly recommend these. I've kept them before. I was quite inexperienced at the time, kept them with cribs. Probably lost a handful. Quite an expensive snack.
Yeah,
but, yeah, it's trial and error in this hobby, of course. And I see that there's another display tank here as well.
Yeah, this is a mixture of rice fish. There's actually some glow light denios which are looking quite nice.
Oh, they're
under the light.
Nice and chunky, filled with eggs.
Well, yeah, that one definitely.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we've got some little false Julies. There's one burrowing in the hygrophillia.
Yeah,
and then the sort of centerpiece fella is this male dwarf gourami, which again, under the light, he has a nice bit of blue and red to him.
Yeah.
And then just an assortment of snails in there.
More of like an epiphyte setup, would you say?
Yeah, it's kind of just a nice, easy planted tank. You know, we did put the soil in there, and then Jacob, who escaped this tank, decided he was doing mainly the epiphyte, so it's kind of wasted. But
yeah.
The hygrophillia loves it.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
So, not to skip over this, but just a little sneak preview as well. There are my blueberry tetra. I brought them in, saying goodbye to them. I feel a little sad doing that, but there's a reason behind it for the new scape that I've just set up. We're going to add some raccoon tetras in. There's some little raccoons in there, and they're going to be added into the school of 6 that I've already got in the tank as well. And also some lovely gold lasers, which I have in that tank too.
Yeah, I'm not sad that you're parting ways with the blueberries because they will make a lovely addition to my 5-foot tank. So.
Oh yeah, well, if you want an example of fish in a fish shop and how they come in, they're the blueberry tetras right there. Not super coloured up, quite dull, little small. But if you give them the time and patience and good feeding, they get way bigger. And that's an example of if they're in a nice setup, they're being well fed, you'll see the difference. Not saying that they're not being well fed in here as well, of course.
Yeah, I mean, we try and feed them like a variety of foods, mainly dry foods, because obviously that's what most people at home feed.
Yeah.
So like we do, especially with the new fish, they get 3 feeds a day, 3 small feeds. And that'll be tropical flake or vegetable flake, catfish pellets, algae wafers, depending on what's in the tank. And then a couple of times a week, we'll do frozen food just to really sort of maximise how much food they're getting. Because the main thing with the fish is, especially in a shop, you know, there's a lot of fish, is feed, feed, feed. Keep the water quality good. You should get healthy fish.
Exactly. I was going to say as well, the original video that I'd done on the shop floor here, of course, back then, I didn't know you as well, and I just done the tour and done a voiceover. So now we've got this video showing a bit more of an insight to yourself, but to the shop.
Yeah.
I was saying in that video that there's a lot of little hidden gems in here, and I've noticed that you've got some rarer hill stream loaches in as well. So you've got the red ones there. I might have to pick one up today, actually.
I mean, I keep saying it literally every day, especially when I feed that tank. I'm like, oh, do I go home with some today?
Stunning, you know. I've never seen them before until you ordered them in. And of course, as well, you've got the blue tail as well.
Yeah, I mean, these are both newly discovered, still yet to be described. But, I mean, versus each other, it's the Reds for me all day long.
Yeah, I'm a Liverpool fan, so red's my colour. Obviously, you're a United fan. We won't talk about that score.
Yeah, please don't. But, yeah, they're as easy to keep as the cheap hill stream loaches you see in most shops. Catfish pellets, algae wafers, frozen food. They'll eat a bit of biofilm as well. But
just make sure that you've got a lid on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it'd be an expensive
Yeah, they have
tragedy.
scattered across the tanks as well.
Yeah, they like to climb, don't they?
Even though I've literally dropped the water level, and if you look in here, on both sides, I've put a little jump guard thing, and yeah, they don't care. I mean, I think in the wild, these guys are climbing upstream, so it's to be expected.
Of course, of course. You've also got some, I think there was some red-tailed penguins.
Oh yeah, they're a little bit
A little
further back
further
in
back.
with the rummy nose.
Yeah, so I spotted them as well. Nice little rare tetra for you, rarer tetra keepers.
Yeah, they're another one. I mean, Harry has kind of gotten me into this because he's been asking probably once a week. He'll spot a new tetra online. He'll be like, can you get me this? I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do it. Let's get some. And he's converted me. I've got some red-tailed penguins myself now. Really pretty fish. I just need to bulk up the group. But hopefully they'll start to sort of shoal with the blueberries when I get them in. Because they are the only shoaling fish in the tank. But yeah.
Right, so let's move along then. So before we look over here, see that you've got an axolotl tank here?
Yeah. So these were donated to us back in November.
Yeah.
The tank does need a little bit of maintenance. A little bit of a siphon, get some of this hair algae out, replant some bits, but it's really tricky with the plants because these guys are just spawning like once a month, and it's just like frog spawn. They just cover all the plants with these little frog spawn eggs. There's probably like over 100 a time.
Wow.
And then we try and raise them up the best we can. We had one that was a sole survivor of the first batch. He was like sort of that. And we've just gotten better and better with it as we've gone on. Kind of like fish breeding. You learn as you go.
Yeah, so. Exactly. It's nice to see it set up like this because, with the popularity of axolotls, Minecraft, and other like social media, like platforms, stuff like that, pushing them as this like cute little pet, and like all the plushies maybe you can see in Kenji and stuff like that. They are at the end of the day an animal and do require a suitable setup, and this is like a nice natural way of.
I mean, you can just see as well like how big they can get. They're getting about 12 inches.
Yeah,
they're not a little thing, but they don't need a huge tank if you're doing one, because they're not. I mean, as you can see, we've been looking at this guy girl for what, a few minutes now, and she's not moved an inch. But if I get the axolotl pellets, I'm sure she will perform. She is the greediest one in the tank. And the NT Labs, if you want to sponsor Adam, we're using your pellets here. And straight up.
Straight away, she moved.
But it literally, like, there you go.
It took a handful to land on her head before she ate any.
Yeah, and then they'll probably just scavenge the rest up. They'll just sniff them out. But go back to sitting down and not doing much.
So I see that the difference between these tanks here, of course, you've got a lot of water dropped here and there. So tell me about this section.
Yeah, so this is mainly our sort of shrimp and nanofish section. So the water levels are dropped in here just to avoid shrimp mixing with shrimp. Because again, like the display there, you wouldn't want to put two cherry shrimps in with each other because they'll ruin the lines. Also, we have dwarf African frogs over here. Yep. We don't want those guys getting in with the cherries because they will eat them. Aren't they? Oh yeah, I love them. A lot. They're actually probably as popular as the axolotls for a tropical tank.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody knows about them.
I showed my girlfriend Mia these, and she was definitely begging me to get some. But I said once we move in together, I'm gonna probably start keeping them.
Yeah, there's something different.
See, I got some footage earlier of the galaxies, the black galaxies.
Yeah, there's a
look at that.
There's a red in there, and then there's some bigger blacks.
Yeah.
I will have to separate those. So normally when I've received these, they are so small, so like even smaller than this red one.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an issue to mix them because they were too small to breed. But this time round, I mean, you can see this big chunky guy on the sponge filter there. Like that is a breeding size. So that'll be another job for today.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the main reason why we have all the drop water levels. But yeah, it's a nice little nano section.
I like that you've planted some of these tanks as well. Obviously, that's a Kambomba.
Yeah, it's a Kambomba aquatica.
Yeah.
Really nice plant, really easy, but when it comes in the pots, you lose a couple of stems out of it, and they're still viable. Like all stem plants, you can cut them wherever you want, replant them, and yeah, why waste them? They can help us. And then obviously we've got all the little coconuts with a bit of moss on. They're in there literally as a feeding ground for the shrimp. They're going to be eating all the little bacteria that's growing on there.
Definitely want to get into Carradina when I get my own place, because I'm thinking of having a shrimp rack.
Oh yeah,
and as well
yeah.
killifish. These are amazing too, of course. Tight fitting lid. When I worked in a fish shop, they would jump, and I'd find them behind sponge filters, everything. You'd find them in the tank about 5 rows down. It's
Oh yeah, yeah. If you even leave it like 2 mil open, they'll be in this fighter system.
So you were saying earlier about guppy, the rarer guppies as well.
I was going to say, yeah, I call it a fighter system. It also has a top row full of sort of premium pairs of guppies. So these are the platinum kahaku guppies. So obviously your males and your females. One thing I've noticed with these pairs is the females are nearly as nice as the males. I mean,
Yeah.
especially with the full gold ribbon
they're gorgeous.
shark fins. You know, believe it or not, some of these are females.
Wow.
You know, this is quite typical with your females. There's not a lot of colour there. The metal blue lace males kind of make up for it. And then again on the end, there's more platinum kahakus.
Yeah. So I can see the fighters there as well.
Yeah.
Nice looking fighter fish.
Might need to just edge them forward. We mainly stock plackets in this shop, which are the short fin ones, but we do get a couple of half moons because, you know, there are people out there with a dedicated setup for those longer fin fighters. The main reason we do the plackets is because of the shorter fin. They can go in those bigger tanks, and also if you've got tetras, things like that, they're less likely to get nipped. I mean, we've got this beautiful yellow dragon.
Ah, yeah.
Looks like a Keith Jr. And then we've got a nice little red dragon. Loads of assassin
someone's
snails.
flaring at me. Yeah, someone doesn't like the camera.
Yeah, me.
See that you've got a lot of snails too. So tell us about like the reason that you stock a lot of snails, because a lot of fish keepers or new hobbyists think that they're a bad thing.
Yeah. I probably get 2 people a day that I've got to try and teach them that snails aren't bad. You know, the pest snails, the little bladder snails, yeah, I can understand it. They breed like rabbits. Usually though, it's because you've got either excess algae, waste build up, or too much food going in.
Yeah.
And they have a party, make more, and just cover your whole front glass. But a lot of the snails we have are Nerentina or Nerite snails. So here's a little guy there. These won't breed in fresh water. No. They'll lay their eggs, but the eggs won't hatch, which is always nice. But yeah, it goes kind of hand in hand with the shrimps. You know, a nice snail and shrimp tank. Yellow rabbit snails.
Yeah.
They're an interesting one. They give birth to live young.
Oh, wow.
So they don't have as many at a time, but yeah, they just plop out a little baby. Got blueberries down here. They're another slightly rarer one. You can see them.
Yeah, all just up there.
It's a shame the shell isn't anything to shout about, but the foot on them is beautiful.
Yeah, the colours, you can kind of see that there. If I back up a little, you can kind of see.
Yeah, maybe that guy as well.
Wow, yeah.
It's a nice sort of purple with little yellowy orange spots, which is nice. They're also a live-bearing snail. And weirdly enough, they will eat algae off the tank and eat catfish pellets, but they're a filter feeder as well, which is really bizarre.
Oh, wow. I might have to grab some.
Yeah,
you know me, I'm not a massive snail fan, but I do have a 2 horn there, right? So I might have to grab some.
Same care, nice and easy.
So I see that you've got a fresh delivery of plants today as well.
Yeah. I mean, my arms are a little bit wet. I'm not just sweating. Elbow deep in here. You know, even as a manager, you want to make sure everything's looking beautiful, especially before you go off for 2 days.
Nice little algae as well there.
Oh, little Pandagaras.
Yeah, I had one for almost 2 years. I ended up rehoming them because he was a little aggressive, but they're not usually an aggressive fish. I think it was just I had a male and he decided the whole tank was his territory.
Yeah.
But every fish has different personality.
Yeah, they're a lot smaller than I thought when I ordered them. But,
yeah, they will get bigger. You got your standard Hill streams as well there.
Yeah, they're reticulated. They're another pretty one. Going
Mm,
like a nice sort of like greenish colour.
yeah,
And this is
very
all
nice.
our sort of like, we call it cold water for, easy
Temperate
use,
cold
but
water, yeah.
temperate. Yeah, room temperature tanks. A lot of Danios and minnows with also a few slightly rarer fish like your rainbow shiners and your bitterlings.
Yeah, I'd like to keep them one day. Temperate is something that I'd like to get into a bit more when I get my own place. Just
Mm.
try and, keep
It's
them fish
definitely
because
something different.
I don't think they get the time of day that they should, especially like, white cloud, stuff like that. Obviously, they're quite popular, but like, you know,
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, I had a 4 foot temperate tank, really well planted, and I actually took 12 of these guys home. And in the shop, a lot of people pass them over. It's quite a, unfortunately, basic fish. You might have kept them when
yeah,
you were a kid, the twos or threes. Yeah, I got 12, put them in that planted tank, and literally, I was sat in front of that tank for like half an hour, just wow, the colours really pop.
yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people just see them as the starter fish. But yeah,
So like,
speaking of starter fish,
oh yeah,
yeah, fancy
goldfish,
goldfish,
yeah.
yeah.
Goldfish, obviously every shop has to stock them, but like, someone say, "Oh, that's fine in my 30 litre," and you're like, "Yeah, maybe for a month or two," and then
Yeah,
when it gets bigger, you have to get a bigger tank. And of course, nowadays people getting a lot more educated on these things, and they're now realizing that they do
yeah,
need the
they
bigger
grow
tanks.
huge. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. These little guys, you can put them in a 30 litre, maybe one or two, but we can't just say no to everybody. Fish keeping is about learning, and we're here to educate.
Yeah,
And the main part is, as long as the people listen and know that in that 3 months, whatever it might be, they're going to have to upgrade or move the fish on when it gets too big, um, then that's fine. That's part of the hobby.
so what I was gonna say is like a question anyway. Is like,
Hmm.
what would you say is the pros and cons of like running a fish shop or working in a fish shop?
That's a loaded question. Um, I mean, for me, I like to make sure everything's perfect as best I can, at least.
Yeah,
Um, so you think like a manager, you're probably like sat behind the scenes, just typing away, ordering things, but I just need to get in these tanks and clean them. I want them looking sparkling, especially for the customers. You know, the algae won't hurt the fish, but it doesn't look great. And people can't see the fish, they won't buy the fish and give them the best home they can. But I think, yeah, it's just learning. Not everybody likes the same fish. As much as I would love to have all the mormerids, the black ghost knives, elephant fish, all that sort of kind of weird and wonderful, it just wouldn't sell really. You'll get that 1 in 100 maybe, but you need to have kind of the common fish, the fancy goldfish, the live bearers, the neons. So yeah, but again, like you said, try and trickle in those little rarities for that one
yeah, of
person that might
course.
come in and go, have you got? We had for the first time in about 6 years, fuller eye cories. So they're
Yeah,
not cories now, they've changed the whole naming thing, but never thought I'd sell them. I kind of bought them as a bit of a like, let's just see. Somebody came in, saw them, told his other friend who has a fish shed, and he came straight down here and bought all of them,
wow.
which was really nice.
It's like when
So,
I first visited the, of course, I was speaking to Harry, and Harry had started as a beginner, and he weren't too clued up. And as soon as I walked in, went, "Wow, there's blueberry tetras." So, anything else to show me?
I mean, obviously we're going past all the hardscape.
Yeah,
Again, that is kind of, it's the fine balance of running a shop. Is obviously, you've seen my tanks; they are all natural, kind of like Harry's are and yours are.
yeah,
We do need to stop the artificial stuff.
yeah.
There's people that just can't grow plants, so they want the ones that they can't kill. Um, some items might have been bought for me, but yeah, you've got to have everything for everyone, or at least a little bit of everything for everyone.
Yeah,
But yeah, plenty of fluval products. I mean, the food behind you, we've got popular brands like Tetra, Vitalis, obviously our own brands, Aquacare.
yeah.
This is a lot of it is the stuff that we feed the guys here. So as soon as you take them home, whatever you're feeding, they should transition really well.
Great.
But yeah, yeah.
And then one final thing to have a look at.
Okey-doke. So yeah, the biggest display of the shop, the Feed the Fish pond. It holds about 6,000 litres, and barring big old Bessie over here, if she'll come up, these are all Japanese koi.
Wow.
That one is a UK bred koi.
Yeah.
Which we've been selling out of here all summer. So we're getting a little bit light. Hopefully we can get some more come sort of next spring.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the main sort of feature of the shop for the children. Kids absolutely love. I mean, you can see how much food we've gone through since I think Sunday was when we topped that up.
Wow.
Yeah, they just put it away like it's no tomorrow. Which I can get some food now. And this is just basic pond sticks. It's nothing flash. We tried using a really high quality pellet, and these guys stopped eating after about an hour. They were absolutely full to the brim.
Someone's after hand feeding there.
You could just literally call it Dyson Hoover. But yeah,
Big old mouth on it.
they will feed and feed and feed like there's no tomorrow. And especially at the weekend, this pond just gets hammered with food. So yeah, if we give them the good stuff, then they'll just stop eating and the kids won't be able to feed them, which is no good. It's a good little distraction whilst the parents are trying to buy some fish for the kids to just be over here feeding all the little fish. But yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Jonny, anyway, for the little tour, walk around.
No problem
Nice,
at all.
informative and insightful talk that we've had today. And if you want to visit this shop, it's Maidenhead Blackpool. It is in the garden centre. You have to walk through to find it. It's a little shed.
Yeah,
to get to the back.
Like a lot of Maidenheads that are in garden centres. Find the most like discreet location. Go to the corner of the garden centre and there'll be a little Maidenhead there. We're a little bit hidden, but hopefully it's well worth it for you guys.